righty. Hello, everybody. Nice to see you today. I am doing the back end of letting everybody in and talking at the same time. So thanks for your patience. But welcome to Tastemaker Talk, where you get to chat with your food creator business besties. We are your hosts, Abbey and Chandice, CEO and COO of Tastemaker Conference. And we are really excited to be here with you today on episode 8 with special guests, Bill and Duane from CultivateWP. But before we get into that, Chandice has our little new food news segment, which I look forward to every week because she has the most random facts about food that you didn't know you wanted to know.
Yes, I'm so excited to share. Okay, so I'm wondering how many of you have seen the viral cucumber salads? Have you guys seen that? Bill and Duane, have you seen that going crazy on social media? It's like a takeout container, like a plastic container, and they slice a whole cucumber on a mandolin, put it in, and then they add different things. So like the one I saw, he added kimchi, and that was almost it, like maybe a little bit more, and then he just shook it, and then it was a salad. He's made over 50 of these. So anyways, it went viral on ABC like news and a bunch of other places that they're talking about cucumber is like the next big flavor. So yay. Yay for cucumber. It's making its debut. So Van Leeuwen and Liquid Death are making a hot fudge sundae flavored water.
What?
I want it.
I know, right? I would totally have that.
Oh man, Bill,
water.
yay or nay?
No, thank you.
Yeah, I'm in no camp with you. Whoa.
So tell us in the chat below, yay or nay for a hot fudge sundae flavored water. Next, Taco Bell is bringing back a new nostalgic menu, which I feel like this is happening everywhere. Like, remember McDonald's released their grandma stuff, and like, I just saw, this is random, but like Victoria's Secret is bringing back their nostalgic 90s pink line where everything, and I was like, I never threw away the 3 that I still have, so yeah. but I think it's everyone's trying to bring back nostalgia because in the world we live in, that brings you joy, most people. And so Taco Bell's nostalgic menu is going to bring back some of your faves, including tostada, green burrito, Mexi Melt, beef gordita supreme, and caramel apple empanada. So that's exciting for a lot of people. I don't know. I feel like there's a couple things from when I was a kid that I remember that I'm like, please bring it back. Like, remember everyone went crazy about Dunkaroos? Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
And one of the ones I remember, do you guys remember the pizza chips? They were triangles, like a corn tortilla chip, but they came in a white bag and they were pizza chips. They had like a pizza fire on the front. It was like full on 90s.
Yes, and they had the Italian like red and green like line across the top.
Yes, do you remember how good they were? They were so good. They were so good. They were not like a they were like a little bit thicker than like a Dorito, but they were really good. So that, and then of course, just because I've been gluten-free, there's things that I miss, like EL fudge cookies. So someone eat an EL fudge cookie for me. But that's our new food news. And then the last thing is there was a big recall on frozen desserts. So check out if any of your desserts in your freezer are in that recall. So
my ice cream stash?
Probably.
What?
I don't know whose it was. Let me see. Okay, recall. Florida-based GS Gelato has voluntarily recalled some of its Full Circle Market coconut milk chocolate almond crunch non-dairy frozen dessert. Wow. I really look if I have that. So, anyways, it comes after the carton reads coconut milk while the lid says cashew milk. So the product really contains nuts. So that was the problem, which is massive for people who have nut allergies. And that's happened to us with gluten, where a product was not supposed to have gluten and it did. And it's so scary. So always be checking, especially if you have like intolerances or allergies. So that's my new food news. So go to Taco Bell and get your nostalgic menu and get your hot fudge sundae water.
I like how we start this off with go to Taco Bell.
Yeah.
And drink hot fudge water. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, have you seen that viral reel that was like, everyone taking care of their health and like doing their annual colonoscopy or whatever. Has anyone heard of number 4 on Taco Bell menu? It was really funny. I was like, oh yeah, that's probably true. I can't eat hardly anything at Taco Bell, so I haven't eaten there for years. But I did work at Taco Time in high school, and I learned how to properly fold a burrito. And even in
Important life skill.
it was very important. But even then, my very favorite burrito was the veggie burrito. Isn't that weird? I'm a meat girl, but I loved it because it had sunflower seeds and beans and rice. It was just good. So
There's a burrito chain in Texas named Freebirds. Bill, I'm sure you're super aware of it, but it was my go-to place, and they had meat eater as well. They had a seitan burrito that I ordered over all the other ones because it's just so delicious. You know, there's no reason why like non-meat food can't be amazing.
yes, I agree. And I think like the impact on the earth too, I've found that it's really helpful to have meatless Monday or to have meatless meals to offset like we're full on like my father-in-law is a cattle rancher. So our cattle we know where it came from. We've seen it raised, like, all of that. But I see the value in having meatless meals, and Abby has taught me a lot about that because she is like little Miss Granola, close to the earth, and she teaches me how to eat all the vegetables and roots. If you do not have her cookbook yet, by the way, it's on display in my home because it's so gorgeous. It's called Root and Nourish. We should send it to Bill and Duane. It's so good.
Should, but thanks for that plug because I'm terrible at putting my own stuff like that. Thanks, Chandice. You're
It's
so
such a
nice.
beautiful cookbook. It's like one that you would find in Anthropology. It's so pretty. And then there's yummy recipes like ashwagandha chocolate chip cookies. So.
Yeah. Well, we got our food fix for the day, so we can get into talking about
Technology.
technology, about food though.
Yes.
But before we pass it over to you, we just want to make a quick community update. As we do, we have virtual Tastemaker conference coming up on September 13th. That takes place in 4 short weeks. We've got great speakers lined up. You can read all about those sessions on our website, tastemakerconference.com. And I will drop the link directly to the tickets if you want to. It's in the chat here. You want to take a look at that. And also, we love our live people interacting here in these webisodes. So if you want to drop your name, where you're from, and be sure to like ask questions as we're going along, we can stop in and chat and ask questions along the way. And then we'll also reserve some time at the end so you can ask Duane and Bill all your questions. So we are talking about custom themes for content creators. Bill Erickson, Duane Smith from CultivateWP. They've been a longtime supporter of Tastemaker Conference. We are thrilled to have them back as a sponsor for Tastemaker 2025 in Vegas. And we all share a genuine love for helping content creators reach their full potential by pursuing their passion. And that's what makes this partnership so valuable to us, because Duane and Bill, I think, they see that and know the passion behind websites. And if you're familiar with their sites or have seen them, like or have met them at Tastemaker or various events, you can feel and see that. So we are so very honored to have you here. And we would love for you to introduce CultivateWP and yourself. So Duane, I'll pass it over to you.
All right. Hi, I'm Duane. For those of you that know me, hi. David, I see you. Vanessa, hi. So I'm Duane. I'm a co-founder of CultivateWP, and this is Bill.
I'm Bill. I'm the other co-founder. I lead the development team.
And I lead the design side. Bill and I both, well, quick background. We met and started working together in 2013 when I was designing websites. I needed someone to do WordPress. I wasn't working in the WordPress space. I was working in like custom CMS stuff. And I reached out to a designer friend. I said, do you know anyone? He said, not only do I know someone, I know the someone. So that was Bill. And that was 2013. So 11 years ago, Bill and I have been working together. So long time. We actually, this is kind of an interesting story. We worked together for many years, and a lot of bloggers and a lot of creators worked with us where they would get an invoice from me, and then separately later on, like a month later, another invoice from Bill. And if we used a subcontractor, we needed to pull someone in like an illustrator, where they'd get an invoice from them. We ended up making CultivateWP for a very specific reason. We really just wanted to put it all under one roof. Like I said, Bill and I have been working together exclusively for a decade, but we just needed a company where people can get invoices from one company. So that's sort of our background of how we got started. But something important to note, when we first started up, like in the very first meetings, Bill, I know you remember this, like in our very first meetings, like, why are we doing this? What's the purpose of it? What's our goal of this, right? And from the very outset, what we said is we want to help publishers grow and thrive. We made that our mission statement. And it's really like incredibly important to us. I know a lot of companies, places I've worked before, mission statements were sort of like a throwaway thing sometimes. For us, it's really important. Every time we make a business decision, we think about a new product line, we think about what something should cost, we think about how do we implement this. We always frame it from the question of like, is this going to help publishers grow and thrive? Will this help bloggers? Will this help creators be better at what they do? That truly is why we do what we do. So I just thought
I can attest to that, because as I've talked to you guys, many times on the phone, it's always about quality over quantity with you guys. And I love that. Like your current customers, and even when you bring on new people, you're like, we want to make sure it's quality. We want to connect with them. We want to be there. That's half the reason you come to Tastemaker, is just to connect with the people you already work with, which I love.
Bill, is it half or is it all?
Yeah, we see a lot of our clients there.
Yeah, that's actually one of my favorite things about Tastemakers. Not that the session content isn't great. I have cried in Tastemaker sessions, believe me. So, but it's not that for us as sponsors, as vendors, right? What it really works out for us is like we get FaceTime with clients. This is how we normally interact. Anyone who's ever interacted with me has probably interacted with me just like this, sitting in my office on a computer. So it's really great to get FaceTime at conferences. I cannot stress enough how valuable that is at conferences, just getting to see people in person. The synergy of being around people that do the same thing that you do and work in the same circles and people you email all the time. It's so valuable. I cannot stress enough how much we really love going to Tastemaker.
Well, we really love having you, and all of our other sponsors are like, Bill and Duane are the best. That's all we've ever heard from all your customers and from other sponsors, which is pretty incredible.
Just a little more background info before we get into some questions. Just so we have some clarity here. We have 3 ways that we help people get new themes, right? So we have 3 services. It's Go, Pro, and VIP. And for about, Bill, what, like 8 or 9 years, something like that? All we did was just VIP. So every single project was start from scratch. And the very first blogs that we worked with, actually, Bill, what was the very first food blog you worked with? Big name.
Pinch of Yum, right?
Pinch of Yum was the first blog we worked with. And then, but that was just sort of a one-off. In the era we were doing a lot of just one-off sites. We were doing a lot of Fortune 100 and Fortune 500 companies and law firms and major universities, things like that. But then a food blogger came to us again. It was Sabrina over at Dinner Then Dessert. And then she told her friend Alyssa at The Recipe Critic, who told her friend Holly at Spend with Pennies, who told her friend Kristen at Little Luna, who told her friend Erin at Well Plated. So it just sort of like snowballed. But we started with these really, really large food blogs. And after, I think it was around our 80th food blog, something like that, one day on a meeting, Bill was like, we keep repeating ourselves. We keep rebuilding the same things over and over. There's got to be a better way to do this. And so we came up with a better way. Bill, do you want to talk a little about Go and Pro?
Yeah, so what we refer to as VIP is just a traditional custom theme process where you discovery, design, development. It's the process. If you've worked with a designer, developer in any industry, that's probably the way it works. But after we built about 80 food blogs, we realized there's only so many ways that a food blog can be arranged, so many features that they have. And so I mapped out what are all the features that we've ever needed to build in a food blog. And then we took, okay, these 80%, we can standardize this. And so we basically built every variation of a cookbook block, every variation of post listings. And that's what Pro was. We spent a year basically building a system so that we can more efficiently design and build custom food blogs. There's not a pro theme. There's not like a pre-existing theme that you can install and we're just changing the colors. It's a design process built specifically around food bloggers. You go through that process and you make a bunch of decisions. So it's like, here's 12 different site headers. Let's look at your logo and the types of links you have in your nav. Let's try and figure out what makes the most sense. And so that shortened the process down by about a third, from like 12 to 18 weeks to 4 to 6 weeks. And then recently we came up with Go, which is basically, we went through our pro process and we just sort of internally designed 10 or 12 themes. And instead of going through and designing a theme from scratch, we take your brand and apply your colors to one of those existing themes. And that allows us to start to finish, get your site done in 1 to 2 weeks. So it's typically 2 to 3 days of actual development work, and then 2 to 3 days of us taking your logo and showing how it looks on a few different themes and making some design changes, figuring out which of these themes is the right one for you. So that's basically the way we do it. The difference between all the products, they're all exactly the same functionality and technology. The difference is really just how much time and effort and do we put into making it uniquely your own. So Go, I think, is an amazing solution because all the decisions have been made for you. You can just pick a theme that looks minimalistic or like strong or feminine, and you hop in and drop your logo and your brand colors, and you're basically done in a few days. But then however much more you want to make it uniquely your own, we have a service offering for that.
I think that's great. And I've seen some of our blogger friends with that mid-tier, and it looks custom, gorgeous.
Yes.
It looks like a VIP package product.
If you go to our portfolio, we have like filters for Go, Pro, and VIP. We get a lot of contact form submissions. Like, I clicked all of them. They all look the same. They all look custom. I don't know the difference between these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing. I have a question, because I'm guessing a lot of people are going to ask this same question before we get into even more questions. What if someone was like, I would like a blog, but I also need a new logo design? Do you do that?
Well, yes. I thought I was going to grow up and be a logo designer. When I was in college studying design, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be a branding company. I'm gonna do that. And then at like my second job, someone threw a website on. This is the early 2000s, right? At my second professional job, someone dropped a website project on my desk and said, do this. I'm like, I don't know how to do websites. I do logos. And they said, figure it out because you're the only person here that can. So that's how I sort of got started with it. And then I started going to courses in school for that. The big part of it is sort of like, how do we take that and work it into a web design company, right? And what we learned pretty early on is a blog that's been around for a number of years has a really well-established brand. Like someone like Spend with Penny, she came to us after she'd been in business for 8 or 10 years already, you know? She has an established brand. She has an established logo. It was all good. So we retained it. And so as we started working with bloggers, we were working with really, really big bloggers who didn't change their logo much. But over time, with Pro being like 1/3 of the price, that broadened the market. And there's a lot more bloggers to work with who needed logos. And then with Go, another third lower, that broadened the market even more. And so now we have a much larger need for logos. And so I get to design some logos. We have a couple of different logo design services ranging from, honestly, it's a very big range, but most of them fall in the like smaller to mid-tier. Anything larger than that's typically for like the corporate clients. But we do offer logo services because that's the center and core of my little design heart.
And one of my favorite new services we have is what we refer to as logo refinement. So once we started with Go, because we use your logo and colors, and people will come to us and we take their logo and colors and they're like, I got this logo I really like, but I got it on Fiverr or I got it somewhere else. And it's like the idea is there, but it's not like perfectly executed. And then when they see it on a professional team, they're like, the logo is sort of holding it back. And so basically what logo refinement is we take your existing logo, the concept that's there, and then we just make like 4 or 5 variations of it and like clean up the logo, make it vector, like fix the kerning and stuff. And so we spent about a day just cleaning up your logo instead of starting from scratch and coming up with a unique concept. If you have something that's like 80% there, you just need to like take it that final 20%. That's what Duane does.
I love that. So there's really quite a lot of options for that too.
Yes.
And don't you just feel like, though, I feel like whenever we should do this test. This would be a fun, like blind, like sample test of being like, tell us which one is the CultivateWP designed website. I feel like I would be able to tell like there's just like a magic, beautiful design element to it that you guys have refined and made your own
Yeah,
idea.
I find that's pretty normal between like any group of designers or any company. Great example, like she doesn't do custom themes anymore, but Melissa Rose has just such a beautiful style, and I love her work. And I can always identify one of her themes. And Madison at Grace and Vine, I could always identify one of her themes. And I think the same could be said about us. I do feel like, as a rule, what Bill and I do design-wise is more on the minimalist side, only from the perspective that this took over the world, right?
Yeah.
Like these things. And so there's just a lot less screen real estate. Everything we do is mobile first. If you look at our website, every screenshot you're going to see, and it's been this way for 3 or 4 years now, every screenshot is done on mobile. We design our sites to be mobile first, and we want them to look and work best on mobile.
Mhm.
So because of that, there's a lot less screen real estate. We tend not to over design. We tend not to get super duper ornamented. Just philosophically, we're a little bit different in that regard. So I think that's probably why you could identify our org.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, we are excited to chat with you even
Awesome.
more. We have a few more questions, so let's dive right in.
Jump in.
Why do you think creators want custom themes?
Why do creators want custom themes? I think there's really 3 things. Well, first, let's just define what a custom theme is, right? So a custom theme is not a commercially available off-the-shelf theme. It's something that's made just for you.
Yeah.
And typically, the 3 big reasons that I think people do themes is, 1, they just want to stay up to date with features and functionality. So it's been many years since you've done your theme and you think, I need to do it again. Or they've been on a commercial theme and now they want to move to something. So it's just about being up to date with features and functionality. That's one reason. Another one, frequently, we have people come to us with a really low performance theme, something that's particularly slow, and failing core web vitals and kind of all those technology things. So oftentimes the second reason would be to improve performance. And then the third thing I think is a really strong reason why people, creators, bloggers, everyone, why do they want custom themes? Because they really want to comprehensively express their brand. Like they want it to be carried throughout the theme. They just don't want a commercial theme that's mostly black and gray with a logo in the corner. They want it to really feel like theirs from top to bottom, from the first page to the last.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think that that's a great way to put it. And so when those creators are starting to think about custom themes, what should they consider when starting to think about that?
That's a big question. That's going to take both of us to answer this probably, but let me throw a couple and then let's see what Bill has also. So the first thing I would say, if you're thinking about a custom theme, right? You're a blogger, you're a creator, you're on a theme or you're wanting a custom theme, whatever it might be. The first thing that I would want to ask is like, hey, is this designed for where my audience is at? Is it designed for mobile? Like I was just mentioning before, it should, like, this is just table stakes. It should be beautiful and mobile first. Everyone making themes should be doing that. If they're not, like, that's the first thing. If they're not designing it mobile first, run. That's number one. The second thing that I would probably say is that theme developer and designer, are they following the technical SEO best practices? Remember, a huge percentage of bloggers and creators depend on and are beholden to Google. So, making sure you're doing things the way Google wants things to be done. And then another reason would be not just from a performance, but from like features and functions of how do I manipulate and edit this site. Frequently, especially in the lower end of the market cost-wise, you will see a lot of people, especially solo designers and solo developers, relying on page builders, and we just unilaterally just avoid page builders completely, just because it's a whole nother layer on top of WordPress that we don't need, and we don't think anyone doing a custom theme really should be using. Bill, what other things why would creators, what should they be considering?
Yeah, I would say it depends on where in the process you are. I would say if you are just getting started, what's most important is picking a solid technical foundation that doesn't introduce a ton of technical debt going forward than so much on the visual. So I would much rather have a design that might not be the prettiest. Maybe it looks a little generic. I put in a nice little logo, but it loads fast. It doesn't have SEO issues. It's not using a page builder because to get to the point where you can afford a fully custom theme, you need to rank well in Google. You need the organic traffic. And so a lot of people might shoot themselves in the foot trying to make something that looks pretty and DIY it using a page builder. Maybe they're using Wix or Squarespace or something, which while they are great builders, they're not great for SEO, and they don't have all the tools you need for what we typically work with, which is food bloggers. And so I'd say a lot of what we do is a lot of technical cleanup. Sometimes there is very little technical cleanup. Sometimes there's a lot of technical cleanup. But the less technical debt that you can introduce, and that's really hard for someone to know, but I'd say like talk to your peers. What are the best practices in this industry? Like I would say Feast is a wonderful place for most people to start. I would say the most successful transitions from a Cultivate theme usually start from a Feast theme. When they're coming from something like some random theme that they found online or not WordPress or something, there's a lot of extra work we have to do to try and get that into a position where we can then build upon it. So so that would be my main thing, would be like look at your budget and choose the right technical solution for your budget. And then hopefully when you've built a successful brand, you get a lot of traffic, you have like the ads generating the revenue, that's when you can consider something a little bit more custom.
That's great. And I feel like that leads into this next question of, what features are creators asking for today specifically? Because I feel like there's definitely trends based on what Google's asking for or user experience that we're seeing and testing with that. And I've noticed right on certain websites, there's really great, like little individual things that seem to be specific to their site that I'm like, wow, that is such a cool feature from a user experience perspective. So as of right now, what is the hot feature that you see everybody asking for?
Ooh, the really hot feature right now is probably our kind of a convoluted answer here, but it's probably our save recipe feature. You've probably seen this on gajillions of blogs. But basically it lets people like save a recipe. They enter the email, it sends them a link to the recipe, and then they can find it later. There are lots of different ways to get that. Little known fact, I'll toot his horn since he's not going to toot his own. Bill is the one who came up with that.
Good job, Bill.
Thank you.
But I'd say
Oh, I was going to say there are a lot of ways to implement it now. You don't have to come to us. Hubbub has it built in now, and I think Grow and Slickstream might be adding similar things. So there are a lot of ways to add that feature, but we found a lot of success with people. Basically, you want people's email. They want a copy of your website. What was popular a few months ago was encouraging them to log in to save the recipe. Whether you have a login on your WordPress site where they have to register, or you use Grow or Slickstream, but we found that like the barrier to entry to like sign up for something was too high. People are way more comfortable just typing in their email address and getting a link. So it lowers the barrier, so you get way more email signups that way. And then you can do with that as you would.
Yeah, if you're a creator and you look at your analytics, you will see, and assuming you have like most typical creators, I'm just ballparking this, you're gonna have over half of your traffic coming from organic search, right? And then of those, over half of them have probably never been to your site before, like it's a first-time visitor. So you have a lot of those type of people who if you ever watch someone, which we've done, but if you ever watch someone use their phone and like search for a recipe, they'll hit a result, go back, hit a result, go back, hit a result, go back. They'll go back and forth from their Google search several times until they find the one that they like. They are not terribly invested in that site yet, but we want to convert them into a terribly invested longtime reader. And so starting with a really low barrier to entry service like Bill was saying, where it's just ask for the email address, that's it, and send them something, and it adds them to the subscriber list, and now you can start like actually communicating with them. A few other things that are relatively hot right now, I would say, our powerful content creation tools like the post listing block and the quick links block, those things are always popular, but the other things that are, remember how I just said Bill, like he's the one who came up with that save recipe block? He does this all the time, several times a quarter, he's coming up with something. So right now we have a few new things. We have a seasonal content block. We have numbered styles for images and galleries. And Bill, do you want to talk about those two?
Sure. So the numbered gallery one, basically, so if you have been doing step-by-step guides by like opening up Photoshop and then adding little numbers on top of your images and then bring it back into WordPress, this saves you from doing that. You basically just insert the images into WordPress, either as the image block or the gallery block, and then you select numbered gallery, and it just puts a number on all of them. So you can have 1, 2, 3, 4, paragraph of text, and then 5, 6, 7, 8. So it saves you a lot of effort on the sort of the content workflow. The seasonal content block is great for seasonal content. So like if you're at the top of your homepage, it's like best Thanksgiving dinners. You don't have to the day after Thanksgiving run to your website and then change that to Christmas. You just pre-program everything. It's like this shows from November 1st to November 25th or whatever. Then November 26th, change it to Christmas stuff, and then change it to New Year's stuff. And or you can use it in the sidebar for like spring or fall or winter, because I've seen a lot of websites that we work on, and it's like it's the middle of summer and it's like winter recipes in the sidebar because no one's gotten around to updating it yet. So it helps you program it once, then you don't have to worry about it. Another thing that I've found really useful is our video pages plugin, which is free. Anyone can use it. You don't even have to be a client of ours. We built it in collaboration with Raptive, but you can use it with anyone. It lets you have a dedicated page on your site for your videos. So you put in all the effort to make a video, you might as well feature it there. Raptive really likes it because when you are viewing a video page, so like the purpose of the page is the video is real big and at the top, like the ad revenue is way higher. Like I don't remember the numbers, but it's something like 100x better than the ad revenue when the video's auto playing in the corner. And so it's a way of driving more revenue from those videos. And then we've also seen publishers use that in conjunction with QR codes. So like when someone prints out a recipe, there's a QR code to like view the video, so they can just scan it and watch the video on their phone. Or one of our clients in her cookbook, every recipe has a QR code to scan it of the video of how to make that recipe. So that's been a really popular addition. And Wrapped, if you're with Wrapped, yes, there it is.
We've got a visual.
Code.
A demonstration.
If you're with Raptive, they'll auto import all your videos for you.
So can you drop a link or let us know how we can get that, how we can add that feature?
Yeah, I'll drop a link in the chat here.
And also David, and I know you said yes to this already in the chat, said, can you match the font on our numbered photo style? I don't know what that means. Explain to us what that means.
Oh, I think he has a very custom font that goes with his brand. And the answer is yes, because it's the styled using your theme. So we can use your heading font, your primary color. We can make it whatever size and whatever orientation you want. So yes, we can. That's the other benefit, is it will inherit your theme's natural styling. And if for some reason you change your fonts, if we set it to use your heading font and your heading font changed, then those would all auto update. You wouldn't have to worry about older images using the wrong text or color.
Love it. You're up, Chandice.
So what should a social media creator do to get a website? I know that there's a big difference between influencers and bloggers. They cross over some, but if there's a social media creator that is planning to do a website, is there anything they need to do specific or different?
Yeah, this is something that's happened in like the last year and a half, 2 years. It's really, really neat. Traditionally, what we saw were people coming to us after they've been blogging for 3, 4, 5, 10 years, whatever it might be. And there's this new class of creator that I know you know what I'm talking about, where they make it on social media before they ever even have a website. We have bloggers who've come to us after a decade with X number of followers. And then we have bloggers who've been doing this for 6 months, or not bloggers, they're creators, for 6 months on Instagram, and they've got 4X the number of followers. They just exploded on social media. Mm-hmm. For the traditional people, if you're coming this and you're going from 0 to 1, right? You're just trying to get from point A to point B and get started. I do not think there's, and this is what Bill alluded to earlier, I do not think there's a better answer than Feast today. If you're just going from 0 to 1, you don't have a social media audience, you're just kind of starting up. However, if you are a creator on, let's say, Instagram or TikTok, you've got 1 million followers or whatever it is, and you're already very well monetized on those platforms, suddenly it becomes very easy for you to justify the ROI on getting a custom theme. The problem that we run into, of course, is our existing services are all theme redesign services. So, Bill, do we want to talk about this, or do we want to?
We can mention it. So this is a thing that doesn't yet exist, but we are exploring the idea of, okay, basically, I'll take a step back. What the challenges that we have with Go. Go works great when you have an existing website, because we pull down its staging, we build your new theme, we add it there, you customize the homepage, your recipe index, and we push it live. The challenge was when we ran into clients that don't have a website. So you're a big social media influencer, you have 1 million followers, you have all these recipes in Instagram posts, and now you want to build it on a website. So we just do our normal Go process, because that's all they wanted. They just wanted to drop their logo onto one of our pre-built themes. We do the 2 days of work, and then it would sit on staging for 6 months while they migrated their content. So what we're exploring, and I don't know really the details of it yet because we haven't done it yet, but is making a free theme that's available to anyone, with the idea being that this is what you can use either on a live site or on a staging site for creating your content. So if you were one of those publishers, we would just set up the free theme on your staging site. You can spend 3 months getting the content the way you want it. And then when you have it the way you want it, then we can redesign it, because it's so much easier to redesign a site when we can see the content that you want to feature there. Like, what do you want on your homepage? What do your recipes look like? That'll really impact the design process. So the idea is exploring ways to sort of build the tools and the processes to make it easier for creators to create that initial content to get to the point when they can then do a redesign. One other thing that we've explored, we were working with an ad partner who wanted to explore the idea of like a recipe first food blog, where like traditionally you have like really long content and then you get to the recipe card. And there was some SEO experts are saying that that's something that Google doesn't like now, that they want people to get straight to the recipe. And then the other thing is for social media, people who have just the recipe, they have the recipe, but they don't have any of that extra content. And so building designs that focus on providing the recipe first. And so what we've done is we built a theme where like the recipe card is basically the top half of the post. So the recipe card is the first thing that goes in there. It replaces the post header. So instead of having a post header and then some content, like the top of the recipe card is the post header. And it gets straight into the recipe card. So it makes it a lot easier for creators who don't have a lot of content or a lot of SEO additional stuff. They just have the recipe to put it up there, and then additional content can go after it. So those are two of the tools that we have for the sort of content creators who are not yet on the web to get their content into a platform that they control.
That
I have a
is so
follow-up
exciting.
question to that too. Sorry, Chandice, not trying to cut you off, but first of all, I'm curious, do you have enough data to know how that's performing with recipe first? I mean,
We don't, because I think we have 1 or 2 content creators who have used it, but we don't have enough data on how it's performing, because they're brand new websites, and so it's really hard to track the like. There's no A/B test there, but for someone who doesn't have extra. For someone who writing the extra content was holding them back from creating a website. So the difference is like having a website with just a recipe card versus not having a website. It's definitely better. And it's sort of like, if your plan was to start with just a recipe, or you wanted to explore that idea, now we have a design that like aligns with that vision. So you don't have like post title and then directly underneath it, the recipe title in the recipe card.
Yeah, like a lower barrier to entry
Exactly.
as well. And then my second follow-up question to that is, I am always genuinely curious and have not done a lot of research into this, what the conversions look like for social media creators first, who then get websites. I'm always just so curious, like, how much traffic are they actually able to drive? Do you have any insight into like what that looks like?
So this is anecdotal data. This does not.
That's all I'm looking for. We're just anecdotally shooting the breeze here.
Anecdotally, I have numbers for you.
Okay.
A content creator came to us maybe 4 months ago, thereabouts. has 1 million YouTube subscribers, and 1 million, what?
That's incredible.
Million YouTube subscribers and 1 million TikTok subscribers, and his website had 4 posts on it.
Wow.
4.
Yeah.
So we did a test. He never has asked his audience. So we said, honestly, like, make a social media post when you make your next, oh, and don't put the recipe in the actual post this time. So on your social media post, put the video and put the link to your website. Don't put the recipe. And on YouTube, like, do your normal video, do all the cooking and everything that you're doing, but don't put it in the description in YouTube, the YouTube doobly-doo. So he did that. 37,000 site visits in one day.
Oh my gosh. That's incredible. That's amazing.
But that's from an audience of 2 million.
Yeah,
So,
true.
like, if you look at the numbers, it's pretty low, but at the same time, most creators would go crazy about 37,000 site visitors in a day.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, as soon as those influencers figure out, because I've talked to some of these
Exactly.
influencers, and as soon as they figure out, oh, sorry.
Yeah, like I think to what Chandice is saying, like we have seen people that are doing massive things on social media, and it's like, why don't you have a website? And they're like, what? They just have no context or any clue of like this entire other like revenue stream or opportunity that's available to them. And I think sometimes it's helpful to have anecdotal numbers or case studies and reports like that for people to see the value in that. Chandice, what were you gonna say?
I was just going to say is that as soon as they figure out, because they're making their money on LTK, they're making their money
Yes.
on Instagram campaigns that they're doing with sponsored brands. And so, sorry, I'll let you take just.
We had a client who they were exploring the idea of building a food blog, and was like, so how do you monetize this? Is it like with swag or something? Like, what's the like? How is it to sell cookbooks? It's like, oh no, there are ways to make money.
We explained what, and she has a very large social media audience, around 4 million TikTok followers. And so I just did the math for her on what a typical RPM would be like with a quarter of that traffic, right? Just 1 million per month, just 1 million. That's a whole lot. But did the numbers, and I told her what they were, and she was like, oh, that's more than we make on social media. Exactly. Like, there is a lot of money being left on the table by these social media influencers and content creators that exists here on the web.
Well, and I think a lot of it is the barrier for them is the SEO side of it that they're worried about. But just like you said, fine, if you don't want to do the SEO, just drive your current followers, your Instagram people over to the recipe, and especially now with ManyChat and things like that, just simply say donut and I'll send you over to my blog so you can make more over there, because you're not making anything off of it right here. You're growing, you're following.
Yes.
So
You use the tools for what they're good at. With the recent changes to Google and sort of the historical, like the sites with the longest age are usually going to have the hiring. It's harder for a new site to move up the rankings purely organically. But on the other side, like it's way easier as a brand new publisher creator to build a following on social. Like that's a lower barrier entry, but it's not as revenue valuable. Like you don't have as much of a moat there. You might lose it. So what we see as a very successful strategy is build your social brand. Once you get to a critical mass, take that content, move it to your own platform that you own, and direct people there. And then even if social goes down or you get shadow banned or anything, once you have your audience on a platform you control, then it's a more sustainable business.
Diversification of revenue streams is a hot topic with food bloggers and bloggers and content creators in general. And this is what we're talking about. Like, don't just rely on your website. Don't just rely on social media. There are a lot of different tools out there. But the fact that you would have that kind of audience without a website is shocking to me, because that's such a huge revenue stream.
But do you remember what happened to all the Vine creators overnight? Literally,
yeah, I was one of them.
Overnight.
Oh no.
Yeah. So I used to I lived, eat, and breathed Vine.
It was
so
funny. I know, I loved it too. And that was a rough one because they had to come over back to their Instagram page and try to build that up again. And that's hard. And so I agree with you. I think if you can always bringing this back, I love what you said, that the best place to start, the best place for you guys to start with somebody is if they currently have a feast. So let's say you have no money to start, get a feast theme, and that's your basic.
Yes.
Then set goals to get on with Go and Pro and VIP. And I loved on your website that Alyssa and a couple of the others show in Pro and VIP because they started here and then they moved to VIP. And it's so beautiful to see the difference and to also see that everybody has to work towards something. So I love that you guys said that, but also going back to remembering that at any point, any of these platforms could shut down and that's it, you lose it. But if you have your website and you have your newsletter, those are things that are going to always be yours, that you own on your little piece of real estate on the internet. So we're glad that you guys are available to our community because you do incredible work. And I know that I'm not alone in being on the list to call you to update my website at some point. But you do wonderful work. And I know personally, I've talked to Alyssa, I've talked to Aaron, and they said that it was a seamless, lovely experience to work with you guys. So thank you for all that you do.
Aaron,
Meaningful Eats.
yes. Abby, you and Aaron go way back, so I'm sure you've probably heard this. And you may have even been standing there when she said this. But it may have been in New York, but Bill and I walked in and she welcomed us and said, I just want you to know, like, getting this like new theme, it's the best business decision I've ever made in my life. Now, listen, that's again anecdotal. You may have that story from one person, another story from another. But I do like to think that for the most part, things always go swimmingly and everything works out well. There's no guarantees, of course, things always happen, but for the most part, working with someone that's trusted and is known in the space and understands the space and really understands blogging, understands the technology behind all of this, works with all the right partners, like that's the safest route for anyone to go.
Well, my favorite thing you guys have said is, will we increase your traffic overnight? No. But will we provide a more pleasant experience for the users that are there so they want to come back, which increases traffic? Yes. And that's great. That's a wonderful way to put it. And you guys are very transparent about that. Just because you have a new theme, you're not going to go up in Google search rankings naturally. It's going to be the experience, which is something that we've heard from Andrew and other experts in our community, is that it's all about the experience you provide. Is someone going to call you if your site is down? That's what you want, is an audience that loves you enough that if your site is down, they're going to be emailing you. They're going to be calling you. I mean, maybe not calling because they don't have your number, but emailing you. And with the experience you provide, that's exactly, they're gonna miss it, and so I love that you guys have options for everyone in different budgets and categories. So we are grateful for what you do, so thank you so much.
Yeah, we unfortunately are out of time, so sorry for Q&A, because Christy wants to know, can you share an example of the recipe card for sites? So with that, here's what I'm going to suggest. Bill Duane, where can people reach out to you and find you to get more information? First of all, and then we have this in our Tastemaker Collaborative, the replay and everything will be available if you want to drop questions there, and we can forward them. But where can they find you and touch base?
So the first place would be cultivatewp.com. And on there, of course, there's a Sorry, I dropped my pen. There's a contact form up in the top right corner. Just click that, and there's a drop down that says, what am I interested in? Go, Pro, VIP, or Other. Select Other, and then I'm going to know when that shows up, oh, this is a question you want to ask. So, and then just put your question in there, whatever you want to look at, whatever your question is.
Perfect. And are you active on social media?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Maybe. Depends on the week. I feel
During
that.
Tastemakers, yes.
Okay.
We have a CultivateWP account. I am in it at least once a week, sometimes 30 times a week, but it depends on the week. So active is a strong word. Sometimes it's a few days, sometimes it's, a few hours between reading.
That makes sense.
But yes, that is also cultivate.wp.
Okay. Wonderful. And we will tag you in the follow-up with all of this too. But also, they will be joining us in Vegas. So if you don't have your ticket to Tastemaker Conference 2025, I just dropped the direct link to that in the chat here. But that would be a great time, like we said at the very beginning, for you to get actual one-on-one FaceTime with these amazing gentlemen. And we would love to see everybody there. And we're so grateful for you taking your time today to share your expertise on custom themes in WordPress and just your business philosophy. It's always wonderful chatting with you, and we appreciate you.
Thank
Abby,
you.
I will say that they always have the best show specials at Tastemaker Conference.
It
Which is fun. They
No
always
pressure.
knock it out of the park with those. So
We already know our next one.
Oh,
hey.
So
alrighty. Well, thank you so much. And then in terms of next time that we see you all on Tastemaker Talk, it's going to be episode 9. We will be chatting with Michelle of Supercubes about reducing food waste as a food creator. So we're excited for that. Thanks again, Bill and Duane. Have a great day, everybody.